Banking in Switzerland versus Singapore. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about the differences between these jurisdictions, and at the end, you will have enough information to make a choice for yourself. Hi, my name is Rusudan and I have been working with Nomad Capitalist for more than 3 years. And here at Nomad Capitalist, we help high net worth individuals legally reduce their taxes, get second citizenships, and go where they are treated best. When we are talking about banking, there are a couple of countries that always pop up in our heads, and Switzerland and Singapore are definitely one of them. And usually, even recently, even more, Singapore has been talked about as the second Switzerland or Asian Switzerland a lot in regards to banking. This city-state in recent decades became renowned for the banking system and became a financial hub in Asia. So in this video, we are going to talk about the differences and similarities between these two countries in regards to banking, and hopefully this will provide you with more information to make a choice if you're looking into banking in these countries. Let's first start with one of the top things that you have to think about when choosing a banking option, and that is privacy. I think that with privacy and banking, Switzerland is the automatic answer that pops into your head, because it has been renowned as the system that really is very private and provides very little information about their clients. Up till recently, they wouldn't even confirm if the person had a bank account with them. And that is due to the 1934 Swiss banking law that provides the bylaws based on which the banks in Switzerland are not obligated to share information about the bank account holders with their system. So almost 100 years of history of privacy. We can also, of course, admit that in recent years, with the pushback from certain countries, European Union, the US, and the rest, and their call for transparency in banking system, of course, has reduced Switzerland's privacy, but it is still on a very high level, and especially compared to some other countries, banking in Switzerland means that your information is way more secure than in other countries. Singapore is a bit younger in that regard. It does provide a lot of privacy, but maybe it is a bit more compliant, and the legal framework and compliance framework in Singapore is a bit more strict than it is in Switzerland. So maybe the privacy is not as like the top as it is in Switzerland. However, it does not mean that they share information freely and voluntarily. There is certain privacy level there too. Recently, Swiss banks had some pushback regarding the privacy from the US Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act or the European Union's Common Reporting Standards. Due to these legal frameworks, they are asked to provide more information about the account holders than they were before. One of the core strengths of Singapore banks is the location. So Singapore is a city-state that has been really gaining its strengths and becoming a gateway to Asia, and the ease of doing business there really has attracted lots of businesses, and it has become a financial hub in Asia. And when you have so much ease with doing business, you also have the need to have adequate infrastructure. And I think that the financial institutes, they are really doing a good job with developing their services. And one core difference that I can really pinpoint between Swiss banks and Singapore banks is that Singapore banks are a bit more flexible with the types of accounts that they offer. And of course, Singapore banks offer the wealth management accounts and investments accounts and everything that Swiss banks offer. The majority of the accounts that Swiss banks offer are more wealth management investments and with high level of minimum deposits in most cases. And Singapore banks, like in addition to those accounts, they also are a bit more flexible with operational and transactional accounts. And they rely on modern technologies a bit more. So Fintech is more developed with Singapore banks than it is with Swiss banks. And there is of course, we can look at that as a drawback for Swiss banks, but at the same time, that is their historic niche in the banking system, where they are very traditional, where they are a bit conservative. But it means that this provides you with the security and safety that is associated with holding assets in Swiss banks. One important criteria that we have to also think about is the stability of the jurisdiction, and I think that in that regard there is really no difference between Switzerland and Singapore. Switzerland, like we know the history and we see how it has a very strong economy and like there is almost never a question that there's going to be any issues there. And on the other hand, Singapore is really young as a city-state. However, its neutral position and the ease of doing business really provides an opportunity and environment to develop your business there. And the financial institutions definitely are keeping the standard high in providing really high-quality services to their clients. Cost-wise, I think that everybody expects Swiss banks to be a bit more expensive, and you guys would be right, because definitely Swiss banks with their tradition do have a bit more costly opening costs and maintenance costs. Not to say that Singapore is cheap, but compared and based on our experience, I think that it is far cheaper to bank in Singapore than it is to bank in Switzerland. In regards to paperwork, one thing that you cannot avoid with banking, I think that Swiss banks are a bit more tough to deal with in that regard. The whole process takes a bit longer in Switzerland than it takes in Singapore. This is really kind of average for all the banks. It also, of course, it depends on the bank, so it depends on if you're opening a personal account or the business account and what type of business you have. But generally, Swiss banks are more demanding with the information. They take a bit more time to review that and ask a bit more questions than Singapore banks. Not to say that Singapore banks don't have any questions. It just, I think that even providing the information, I think that Singapore banks are a bit more open. They integrate systems, online platforms and fintech features a bit more, so it is faster. Whereas in Switzerland, in most cases, you have to provide paper documents, so it takes a bit longer. And generally, the process of opening the bank account from the get-go is longer in Switzerland than it is in Singapore. In summary, we can say that there are some differences and some similarities between these two financial hubs. We cannot say which is the best one. There is not just one answer, but I would say that it really depends on what you're looking for and what your current situation is like. What are your priorities? So based on those, you can make a decision between these two financial hubs. While we are discussing Singapore and Switzerland in this video, we should also remember that there are some more options out there, and this is exactly what we do at Nomad Capitalist. We provide tailored services and more optionalities for you to make an informed decision. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube channel.